In other news, a day after President Uhuru Kenyatta reopened the Nairobi metropolitan area for travel, inter-county travel resumed at a slow pace as most public service operators are yet to acquire clearance from the government to restart their operations. A number of PSV staff that Metropol TV spoke to lamented over the cost of acquiring a COVID-19 clearance certificate, which is currently at 5,000 shillings.
Uhuru Kenyatta on Monday announced a halt to the cessation of movement in and out of Nairobi metropolitan area, Mombasa and Mandera counties. The announcement signaled the restart of travel in and out of 3 areas which had been signaled out as COVID-19 hotspots. However, the president gave a condition.
To operate public service vehicles, the operators will require mandatory certification from the Ministry of Health in consultation with the Ministry of Transport.
But meeting that condition will come at a cost to public service vehicle operators as they have to acquire a COVID-19 clearance certificate, which comes at a cost of 5,000 Kenyan shillings and is only valid for 2 weeks. A cost that some find exorbitant in the face of the prevailing economic situation.
Tunashukuru President ametufungulia ban, but still bado tunangojea Ministry of Health, Minister of Transport pia nao vile atatupea zile guidelines kabla tuanze tuanze kazi, but in the meantime tunafanya tu kukaa hapa tukingoja. Tushatuma representatives wameenda huko watuletee feedback ndio tuje what's the way forward.
Maproposal imewekwa ni gari kuwe na compliance na sisi pia tukuwe na barua ya corona. Na sasa ndio tumeanza kuzifuata, lakini sasa pesa pia unajua inaleta shida juu tumeambiwa tutafute 5,000 ndio tutafute hiyo barua na ina expire na 2 weeks. So hapo imekuwa ni shida, bado hatujui vile itakuwa.
Commuters who are intending to travel out of Nairobi have now found themselves stranded in the wake of the new challenge facing public transport operators.
Maisha ya Nairobi imekuwa ngumu. Hakuna kazi kidogo, ile pesa kidogo tu, kazi kidogo tunapata, tunapata pesa. Haitusaidii sababu serikali inatusumbua sana, Kanjo anatusumbua sana.
Even as it's back to business to travel in and out of Nairobi metropolitan area and the counties of Mandera and Mombasa in a move to rebuild the fallen economy, the president insists this is a partial move should the situation worsen. Makali for Metropol TV here in Nairobi.
With movement across the country now back on track, public service transport operators are bracing for tough times ahead. I spoke with Edwin Mukabena, who is a managing director of Kenya Bus Services Management and a transport expert, on what the new normal looks like for PSV operators. Let's listen in. Edwin, what are your thoughts on the reopening of Nairobi, Mombasa and Mandera counties for inter-county travel?
It is a good move. It will help the business and the country to unlock. But just like the president said, it means that we'll have to ensure that everybody takes care of himself. And for us in public service transport, it means that we have a lot to do to ensure the safety of people, not only now in terms of accidents, but in terms of road safety, which is a very new area that we had never thought about. It means that there's a lot of education that we have to do to our crew, so that our crew become just like air hostesses, be able to give messages of how people should behave while on the trip, so that we safeguard lives of people. I think that is where the challenge lies. But all in all, we think it's a good idea to open up the country and just ensure that everybody takes care of themselves.
The tourism sector unveils strict measures to ensure customer safety during this time of COVID-19. What protocols are public transport operators following to keep COVID-19 at bay?
What we are doing is, first of all, we are looking at the crew themselves and ensuring that the crew themselves are safe. The driver and conductor are safe, they are clean, they are sanitizing, they are ensuring that where possible, they are putting on masks throughout. Then from there, we are looking at the working area, that is the vehicle itself. How does the vehicle itself get sanitized? How does it get fumigated to ensure that it is okay? Then we are moving to the booking offices to ensure that the booking offices are safe. Then we are moving to the garages where the vehicles park and how they are cleaned to ensure that all this is safe. But more emphasis is being put on the passengers so that we are able to contact trace those passengers by having manifests. And if possible, we are encouraging that people should be able to pay using cashless money so that we are able to track them if we need to do. So there is a whole spectrum that we are trying to look at so that we are looking from end to end to ensure that the passenger gets safe and the crew gets safe.
Is Kenya's public transport sector prepared to handle the expected wave of commuters leaving and entering Nairobi, especially under the current circumstances when PSVs are expected to operate at 50% of their capacity?
Yeah, thank you for that question, because the challenge has been how do we, as operators, continue to operate at 50% and at the same time be expected to make money when we have school transport closed. We still have a curfew going on, which means passengers are restricted. The government has said that people should work from home. And technically, people are scared of public transport movement because of what they feel like it is not safe. So not only are the passengers fewer, but at the same time, we are having a challenge of fewer passengers to be carried. At the same time, you have the same costs of insurance and other legal issues that are pegged on the number of passengers you carry. So going long distance from Nairobi and you have very few passengers is a challenge. Perhaps it will be met by a slight increase of fares to be able to cushion ourselves. There was a small gain that we made from the fuel price going down by fluke, which has helped a bit. But at the end of the day, I think there is going to be a very, very big challenge, and the fares will have to be increased. Problem is that the people who are traveling up country, some of them may not have lost their jobs, some of them maybe do not have income, and that means that the ability to pay doesn't exist. And if the ability to pay doesn't exist, it means that the trips that every vehicle was making every day, I think will have to be curtailed a lot. And that is a challenge.
No, and that was my next question to you. Is the current seating arrangement in buses where 2 seats are left empty per row, is it sustainable for a revenue and profitability point of view?
Yeah, I believe, like I said, I think the challenge is in the whole industry, including the airlines, because there's no way you'll carry people on first-class fares and fail to increase the rates. And like I'm saying, it's a challenge because then will people be able to afford? That is one of the problems that we're going to face. But let's see how it works. Perhaps for us in business, we are going to lose a lot. Payment of loans is going to be a challenge. And it would have been very nice if the government came in to try and assist in terms of an economic stimulus to the industry to be able to carry. That means that there will be a lot of workings that have got to be done between the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Transport to ensure that business is kept alive. Otherwise, this is a private sector driven industry. And if people are not making money, they'll simply park their vehicles. They cannot afford to subsidize a passenger. That means they'll park, and the problem will arise that the private cars owners will move in to start carrying. So what the government was thinking that it was protecting people, the people will end up again going through private cars illegally, but still traveling. So it's something that we really have to work together with government and the county government to ensure that we deal with it.
And with that, Edwin, Matatu operators are complaining about how high the fee of 5,000 shillings for certification to operate. Now, are you in agreement with the new cost burden? If not, what do you propose as the way forward?
Yeah, I've heard that, but we haven't been told that officially that there'll have to be certifications or tests for all matatu operators before they are allowed to work. Because then does it mean that all passengers who come also will be asking for them to be tested? So it's not possible for you to ask one group to be tested and then you don't ask another group to be tested, because at the end of the day, all these people are moving back to their families and they could cause infections. So it is something that we'll have to sit down and look at it and see whether it is sustainable. And if it is done, I think, in my opinion, is that we have to get those licenses free of charge. I don't think it will be sustainable for us to ask. We have many workers, and when you have so many workers and you have to test, it's not just going to be possible.
And I'd like us to clarify on that point a bit more. I'm trying to picture the bus terminals, right? And here's a mass of customers or clients, and here's a mass of your employees. And these are two sets of people that need to be tested. How exactly will that work out? Just draw for me a raw picture from the ground.
Possible that it's a challenge, I must say. It's possible that yes, we can say maybe we want all our crew to be tested, but testing somebody who mixes with people every day is not very easy. It's not like a truck driver that is driving alone in a vehicle for a long distance and then you test him at the border. That is why the issue of testing is going to be very, very challenging. I agree with you. And again, all these passengers who are coming, you also don't know whether they have been tested. So the answer really lies in terms of how do we ensure that the protocols that we want to put in place, sanitizing, keeping distance, ensuring people wear masks, ensuring that the vehicles are sanitized. I think this is going to be very, very important to protect, while at the same time, in post-infection, then it means that tracking of these people must be important. And that's why I say that somebody, for example, may come with, let's say, 100 shilling note. You don't know how many people have handled that shilling note. And this person is putting on every protective gear that you may think of, but it gives you a note which you are holding in your hands. So unless you are sanitizing all the time, this is likely to cause a lot of trouble. And this note is going to be given from you, then it will go to your booking office, then from the booking office, the cashier will take, then from the cashier, it will go to the bank. So an answer lies in how do we ensure that we move to cashless? How do we move to mobile money? That is one of the challenges that I think will help us.
Really, there's going to be a new normal that every player in this matatu, or rather public transport industry, will have to adopt to. So what should investors in PSV transport and commuters expect going forward?
The investors in the PSV industry will have to relook at how we are going to operate. One is that the vehicle design and the vehicle seating capacity will have to be looked at. There will need to be strict rules for ourselves to ensure that self-policing is there and people get to understand that at the end of the day, you need to save yourself by ensuring that everybody takes into practice the protocols that have been put in place. As operators and as owners of vehicles, it is our duty to ensure that this takes effect. But in terms of investment, I cannot I cannot overemphasize the fact that I think we'll struggle to pay the loans. And the understanding of the banks from whom we take loans will be very important, in that we are expecting them to reschedule the loans, or if there are circles that people have taken money from, they should be able to reschedule them so that it eases the amount of payment. Because even if they were to come and foreclose and take the vehicles, I don't know if there is anybody who wants to buy one now. To buy one, to take it where?
We are hoping for the best. Edwin, thank you so much for giving us an insight on what your thoughts are around this public transport safety preparedness.